Could the Federal Reserve rate drop save you money, or is that going to create a financial crisis? This is Josh and Brian here with the Linhart team at Coldwell Banker Realty. And today we're going to talk about what the 50 basis point drop with the Federal Reserve really means.
Yeah, so big announcement came out from Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve dropping the benchmark rate by 50 basis points. So this is going to have a few implications for one, mortgage rates, financial markets, and I think the economy as a whole. But I think for what to look for specifically for the real estate market is one, realize that majority of the mortgage rates have already kind of priced this into their plan right now. So there's not a fully direct correlation between the Federal Reserve's rate drop and what happens with mortgage rates. So right now where they're sitting around 6%, which is actually the lowest we've seen in the last 2 years, I think is what it is. So know that as they start to have more talks of dropping them further, we may see rates start to drop even more. So I think for most people, having an eye on what to do next, I think is going to be really important.
Right. And understanding that what the future really looks like, because they also announced over the next year to year and a half of also potentially, as he said, dropping more. So currently rates now, if there is some correlation there, but not fully. So in the next year to year and a half, could we see rates in the low fives, mid fours, somewhere in there potentially? But what is that going to create for the real estate world? That is, we're still at a shortage of inventory. So we're going to see prices continue to go up, multiple offers continue to happen just because the percentage of buyers that are going to now be able to re-enter the market and also have more purchasing power going forward because of these rates dropping. So that is going to be, the forecast for the future, as we can tell, that unless inventory directly changes somehow, and I just don't foresee that happening in the real estate world right now. So
I think a couple of things to keep in mind is one, if you have bought in the last 2 years and your interest rate is at that 7%, maybe a little bit higher, there could be a good time here in the near future for you to be able to refinance. I think you should wait just a little bit longer to see what the Fed kind of continues to do. The other thing I think to look at is, as a home buyer, now is going to be the idea of, when am I going to buy? I think that's really going to be important on how to time this. So my recommendation, I think, is to start looking now. As soon as these rates start to drop, we kind of always have a delay between when the rates drop and people start transacting and start to actually get out there and buying. So I think the people that are there now are going to have an advantage over the people that go, hey, I'm going to probably do this next spring. I think our big concern in the housing market is going to be is if rates continue to drop and they do kind of get down to that 5.5% or maybe even 5% by next year, well, how many buyers are going to come out of the woodwork with the lack of inventory that we do have? Are we going to have a big spike in prices again? I think noticing that might be on a lot of people's minds. They're waiting for a little bit more to all of a sudden get out there. If everybody gets out there at the same time, we might have a lot of multiple offers on our hands. So I think being really smart about that is going to save you a lot of money in the long run.
Right. And it's kind of determining of, do you want to pay that higher sales price or do you want to pay that higher interest rate? It's, if you've refied, as Brian had said, kind of potentially wait. I always kind of look at 1% rate drop if I'm at 7, 6, but as they continue to talk going lower, I obviously probably would wait a little bit longer as well to try to, time it out so well, but you don't want to have the adverse effect and all of a sudden they change their mind at the Federal Reserve and they're going to, things are going to change the other direction. So, that's something to kind of keep in mind, keep watching. But I do believe, as I said, it's trying to time that. Next spring could be very, very interesting in the real estate world of the number of transactions happening because buyers are getting more purchasing power back.
If you want to stay up to date with more information like this, follow our channel, comment down below.